Start game now. Hey look, it's a Mario, and he's brought with him today one of his early appearances that happened in the game Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for your Nintendo Entertainment System. The classic box art right there really isn't much, it's just, an action shot of Mike Tyson, but any kid growing up during this time probably fondly remembers the black Nintendo box that this came in, and maybe even the follow-up Punch-Out that happened without Mike Tyson. Either way, let's go ahead and take Punch-Out, pop it into our NES, and find out if it's a knockout today or not. Let's go to the game. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was published by Nintendo and carries the copyright year of 1987 and was re-released in 1990 without Mike Tyson as just Punch-Out with Mr. Dream replacing Tyson. This happened after Tyson lost to Buster Douglas and his license with Nintendo ran out. This also worked out for Nintendo as Tyson would later be involved in, shall we say, not so family-friendly behavior that landed him in prison. The game is also based in part on the Punch-Out arcade games of the early 1980s. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is a single-player boxing game with one mode of difficulty. You are the 17-year-old Little Mac who is from the Bronx and is under the guidance of former champ Doc Lewis. You will face a series of boxers, and once you defeat certain boxers, you can get a password to save your progress. Most of the time, you get 3 chances. If you lose a fight, you usually get a rematch with the same fighter. If you lose a second time, if there is a fighter 1 rank lower, you will get demoted and face them instead. If there is none, however, you will face the same fighter a 3rd time. But if you lose 3 times, your game is over. However, in the final fight, you only get 1 shot, but a password can return you to the fight pretty easily. Each fighter has a unique style, with certain patterns you must use in order to defeat them. In many ways, the game is more of a series of boss battles than it is a boxing game. When playing, you use the B button to punch to the left, A to punch to the right. Holding up on the D-pad will punch to the face, not holding up while you punch will punch to the gut. Left punches move faster and right punches have a little more power. You can press right or left to dodge in that direction, and down to block, and press down twice to duck. Usually the best time to punch is right after you dodge your opponent's punch. If you connect with a very effective punch, you will gain a star. You can earn up to 3, but you lose 1 every time you are hit. If you have at least 1, you can use a special uppercut that takes a little while to wind up, but is powerful if you connect by pressing the start button. You also start each fight with a certain number of hearts. Do well and you can earn more, but you lose them when your punches don't connect. If you lose all of them, you'll become exhausted and unable to punch until you regain some of your hearts again. Each fighter has a stamina bar. When depleted, the fighter will get knocked down. When you are knocked down, you can press the B button rapidly to rise to your feet before the 10 count. You have 3 rounds in each fight. If a fighter fails to get up before the 10 count, or if a fighter is knocked down 3 times in a round, they will lose the fight. If there is not a winner after 3 rounds, Mario decides the winner based on match points, but according to the manual, he can be unfair when ruling. I knew that plumber was crooked. How else does a plumber become a boxing referee? In between rounds, Doc may give you advice that may help you recognize your opponent's patterns. Once a fight, you can also press the select button in between rounds to regain health. It seems that pressing it repeatedly helps you gain more stamina, but if you try this when you have a lot of health, you may actually lose health instead. Graphically speaking, I think the game looks really great. Your opponents are nice and large and show a lot of personality. I also like the cutscenes and in-between round scenes as well. However, there is a difference between the 2 versions. At the beginning of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the game shows Tyson smiling, saying that he is waiting for you, while the remake goes straight to the title screen. And while Mr. Dream acts a lot like Mike Tyson, he's now a white guy with a new face but similar body. I will say there is something cool about having Mike Tyson in the game versus the later version, which is missing him. Music and sound wise, they are spot on with some catchy classic music and fun sound effects. I really dug it. It might be one of my favorite sounding NES titles. Family friendly wise, this is a boxing game, so it may not be for young kids who may try to emulate the fights with their siblings, and a lot of the fighters while they might be seen as too much of national stereotypes by some. On eBay, the price varies depending which version. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is the more desirable, with loose copies typically going for about $30 to $40, complete copies going for about $100 to $150, and new copies going for $500 and more. Regular Punch-Out loses some of the flair. Loose copies go for about $20, complete copies were going for about $25 to $30, and new copies were going between $100 and $200 as well. And as always, those prices include shipping. So what did I think of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? Unlike most of you, I didn't really play it growing up. So I don't have the same experiences as most of you, and even Glass Joe gave me some trouble at the beginning just because I was getting used to the controls. But I found it very entertaining and very fun to play, even though it seems like my reflexes aren't quite fast enough to be a supreme ruler at this game. Nonetheless, it still is a blast to play, and it's an extreme amount of fun. My only gripe would be that sometimes I don't like using the passwords and going through the same couple of boxes again just to get to the guy who's giving me trouble. So in that case, I might actually lean towards an eShop version on something like the Nintendo 3DS, where I believe they allow you to use save states, which would be really awesome in this game. But either way, this is a definite classic if you can get your hands on it. So where am I going to rank it? Well, at number 1, I have Super Mario Bros. 3, and I like that more. And I had a lot of struggle with the number 2 ranking, where I have the original Super Mario Bros. And deciding whether I wanted to put Mike Tyson above it or not. And in the end, I think I like the original Super Mario Bros. Just a little bit more, so I'm going to put Mike Tyson's Punch-Out at number 3. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, it is a slam dunk touchdown home run. Did you think I was going to say knockout? I gotta keep you on your feet. If you enjoy retro-related videos like this one, please click the like and subscribe buttons, and be sure to check out my many other videos covering Atari, Sega, Nintendo, and more. With over 175 now posted, there's something for just about any retro fan. Thank you guys for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care and go play some Punch-Out.